Imagine if Alaska, the largest U.S. state, belonged not to America, but to tiny Liechtenstein. It sounds absurd, but in the mid-1800s it almost happened. Alaska is vast bigger than Texas, California, and Montana combined, with a coastline longer than all other U.S. states put together. For centuries it was Russian America, a land of fir glaciers and endless forests. But by the 19th century the fur trade collapsed. Native resistance grew, and the Russian-American company was losing money fast. Alaska became a costly burden for Russia, expensive to maintain, impossible to defend. The Tsar decided it was time to sell. The idea seemed wild. Who would want a frozen wasteland? But with British Canada next door, and Russia's treasury empty, selling Alaska started to make sense. Better to get cash than lose it to the British for nothing. So, the Great Alaskan Sale began. And the first potential buyer, not the US, but a tiny European principality. The fate of Alaska was about to take a bizarre turn. Russia's defeat in the Crimean War left its finances in shambles. Tsar Alexander II needed money for reforms, and Alaska looked like an easy asset to offload. The British threat loomed large. Canada bordered Alaska, and Russia feared losing the territory for nothing. Selling to Britain was out of the question, and France was still an enemy. The US was friendly, but before approaching Washington, Russia quietly shopped Alaska to other buyers. Through diplomatic channels they tested the waters. The first nation to show interest wasn't a global power, it was Liechtenstein, a landlocked microstate in the Alps, barely known to the world. The idea, Liechtenstein could leap from obscurity to owning a subarctic empire. For a moment the world map nearly changed forever. But could a country so small really govern a land so vast? The answer would soon become clear. Liechtenstein, ruled by the ambitious Prince Johann II, seriously considered buying Alaska. The prospect, for a modest sum, the tiny nation could become a global power overnight. The government debated the risks and rewards, vast resources but staggering logistical challenges. How could a landlocked country with no navy or colonial experience manage Alaska? The costs of administration and defense could bankrupt them. The dream was bold, but reality set in. Ultimately, Liechtenstein declined. The risk was too great, the challenge too immense. The offer faded, and Alaska slipped from their grasp. Liechtenstein would find its fortune in banking, not empire. But for a brief moment the world almost looked very different. With Liechtenstein out, Russia turned to the U.S. Secretary of State William Seward, saw Alaska's potential and struck a deal for $7.2 million, about 2 cents an acre. The press mocked it as Seward's folly, calling Alaska a frozen wasteland. For decades it seemed they were right. Alaska was ignored and sparsely populated. Then gold was discovered. The Klondike and Alaskan gold rushes transformed the territory overnight. Suddenly, Seward's gamble looked brilliant. The gold alone dwarfed the purchase price, and later oil, gas, and other resources made Alaska invaluable. What was once ridiculed became one of history's greatest bargains. Alaska's riches changed America's fortunes. And to think, it all could have belonged to a country smaller than most American towns. History, as always, is full of surprises. Sometimes the wildest what-ifs come closer to reality than we ever imagined.